well.
Yeah, we'll see whose teamwork does work out this time around. These two will clash for the final time in the spring split. Starting off the board as they get excited. The band's coming in.
Poor
Is LeBlanc, Zed, and Twisted Fate.
Yeah.
They really are focusing on that mid lane, aren't they?
LeBlanc, Zed, stand-up bans against ROCCAT. I really like the Twisted Fate as well. It's one of the champions Nukeduck has liked to use to really try and snowball his side lanes. But ROCCAT, it's been all about Woolite, and Copenhagen Wolves needs to just try and avoid a Kog'Maw composition. And the way to avoid it is by first picking that Lulu for the Copenhagen Wolves. So they're purely doing this to take away that protect the AD carry style. We might still see ROCCAT try and go for it with Janna, with whatever.
Well, you do see ROCCAT, and Will in particular, preferring those hyper carries. We'll see if they do something else to make the protect the AD carry comp work out. So far, they've got a decent front line with Overpow on Maokai.
Yeah, that's a good start.
Let's see what the Wolves answer with, too. I'm particularly interested to see where Airwaks goes because we've all heard the stat now about his Jarvan play versus all of his other champions. He's picked so many unique things.
I mean,
Sejuani's got up his sleeve for him.
Sejuani is open. Otherwise, if you want their standard aggressive junglers, Rek'Sai in Italy, nothing has really been banned away except for that Nuno, who is one of the best junglers on this patch. But it seems like most of the teams want to just go to these tanky junglers because there's no real, early pressure. You have to make plays early game if you play like Rek'Sai, if you play in Italy, into a tank, because otherwise you get outscaled. So by taking the likes of Sejuani here for Airwaks, it does buy him more time in the late game, where Copenhagen Wolves in the past has struggled to finish out games here. And that's why picking a very strong team fight composition can help them really push their fairly weak team fighting abilities normally.
Yeah, if you're having some trouble with a particular type of strategy, just force yourself to play it. That's the way to do. Now, on the side of ROCCAT, I think a Janna with the Kog would certainly help as long as Woolite can keep safe.
Question is for Nukeduck in the mid lane.
Yeah.
3 bans. He's not really been a Morgana play. He's played Lulu a few times. And if they still want to do like a massive protect Woolite, you would go for the likes of Morgana, you would go for Janna. Gragas would be another great pick in the jungle because he offers so much peel. You can use his ulti defensively. There's quite a lot of CC as well, so I like this here from ROCCAT. A lot of protection already, despite not having that all-important Lulu. And obviously we're not expecting a Nami coming in, because then suddenly Janna would have to go elsewhere, and that's not really going to happen. Copenhagen Wolves might want to take it away instead, though.
Yeah, I think that might be the answer in this situation. We'll yet to see what Freeze is going to pick up. He does have his signature champions available to him in this game. There is the Kalista they're hovering at right now, and they do lock it in.
Ooh, Kalista against all these tanks in the late game becomes very hard for her to do a whole lot. Copenhagen Wolves are really looking to snowball from the early game to the mid game here with their comp, because the Gragas and the Maokai in the late game is not really gonna be too bothered by Kalista. She needs a lot of spears in them before the Ren does enough damage to really kill them. So for the Copenhagen Wolves here, really have to be careful they don't get outscaled. They gotta make some plays in the early and the mid game.
I agree with you here. Now let's see what ROCCAT's got up their sleeve. Nukeduck, he's had 3
It is good with Lulu and
bans thrown at
Zeko,
him.
but
Are we gonna see a Katarina? They're thinking about it. Oh!
yes, we are, Pyra.
Oh!
Yes, we are.
Cue the pentakill music.
All right, let's see what Nukeduck is going to build in here. But Katarina is one of those champions who can go for early loot and Zeko, and you have an insane amount of early AoE damage. Otherwise, he doesn't really fit in the composition itself. I mean, the rest is purely protect our AD carry. Katarina doesn't really offer anything, but she does offer another threat that the Copenhagen Wolves have to worry about. And if you have these long fights where the 2 big tanks are just standing in the front line here and slowly but surely poking people down, that's just an opening for Nukeduck to come in, clean up these fights here. And again, the Copenhagen Wolves really do not want to fall behind and get to late game against what ROCCAT has put on the table.
Yeah, talk about snowball potential, though, for real. This is going to be a very bloody game. I think in the mid lane especially, I'm excited to see how this one goes, how the Wolves can handle this. Again, if they win today, I mean, they're in the control of their own destiny, but ROCCAT, they have to win this to even stay in contention.
Yeah. If they do lose, they suddenly need elements also to lose the game and have the tiebreaker for who goes down to promotion tournament and who sits at number 7, which is the safe spot. Again, if people haven't, figured out how the system works just yet. Top 6, playoffs, number 7, safe. You're in the LCS for next year, nothing else.
Well, you guys have seen those comps. That first Katarina that we've seen, talk about champion diversity. Why don't you guys tell us who you think is going to take this game? Go ahead and tweet us with the hashtag CWWin or ROCWin. Of course, LOL Esports. Use the hashtag LCS. Hey guys, get ready to start off week 9. It's the Copenhagen Wolves versus Team ROCCAT.
And I really like what ROCCAT has put together here in terms of how they set up their combo, or their comp. If you look at the players, Overpow is a guy who, Well, they tried to put him on carries last week. He played Jarvan both the games, and honestly, that's not a champion Overpow should be playing because he's not a carry. He's not been performing well enough to be the one you put your resources onto and say, okay, if you get fed, we can win. No, put him on a tank. Maokai is perfect for him. One of the champions he's been performing pretty well on, honestly, as well. Still want to see how this Katarina works out. Okay, so Copenhagen Wolves setting up a small trap. I noticed whenever you watch ROCCAT play, at least like the last 5 or 6 games, they always like to invade in on the enemy blue buff. And that's why Copenhagen Wolves are sitting here, trying to bait with this tasty little Lulu. YoungBuck want to try and be caught out, and then they're waiting just around the edge. But ROCCAT in this case, not really looking like they want to invade on anything.
Yeah, I think they're playing it out a little more cautious this time. A lot is on the line, and they will just be guarding their own jungle entrances, so the Copenhagen Wolves Gambit does not pay off. However, definitely good predicting and good scouting of typical trends. It's just ROCCAT this time outline gamed him.
Again, ROCCAT have done it like 4 or 5 of the last few games, the same move with the invader on that blue buff, so I quite like their plan from the Copenhagen Wolves, but obviously ROCCAT has most likely looked at their own replays and figured, oh, this is very predictable. Let's, you know, either play a bit safe or invade somewhere else and not just do the same. So Copenhagen Wolves trying to swap to the top side. ROCCAT will find them as well. We're going to get the standard lanes. YoungBuck will be able to lane against Overpow here, who's doing the Wolf Camp. And we might see YoungBuck try and do the Crooks here together with Airwaks simply to help him if he's expecting a lane swap and he wants to like double jungle with him. That's going to hurt him once he realizes they're not gonna be a lane swap, and he didn't get anything early on, didn't even get an early push. So now Overpow, once he returns, will get level 2.
Yeah, now ROCCAT are gonna go ahead and try to freeze this one up in the top lane. It's gonna be a little bit before Freeze and Unlimited do make their way up there. There they go now. So ROCCAT gets the level 2. He's gonna go ahead and back, should spend that teleport to meet YoungBuck in the bottom. Meanwhile, the Wolves have arrived. Yeah. ROCCAT have backed off.
And the Wolves got a bit of an XP advantage. You can see on Unlimited here, he's already halfway through to level 2 because they got the Grump. Which means ROCCAT just has to sit back tight and wait for this wave to come in. They will not be getting level 2 as fast as the Copenhagen Wolves. And therefore they're gonna, honestly, they're gonna be forced to play passive. Good job by them to not start pushing the lane. If you push the lane and the enemy team gets a Grump first to get that XP advantage, you get caught in the middle of the lane, they get level 2, and you are just in a bad spot. So smart of them to just wait.
Right, best not to take the chances. I mean, you're Kog'Maw jungling. You don't have to win that lane. You're still going to be farming. Fantastic the longer it goes anyways. And there's a big juicy minion wave for the Kog. He gets a shield on him. It's a little bit of harass out on Unlimited and Freeze, and careful not to get within range of attack. Let's see what this mid lane is doing, however. Soren and Nukeduck, both at level 2, giving themselves a respectable distance. We talk too much about it. We don't see too many Katarinas at the top level of professional play, but we've got the Doran shield on. Yeah. Little defense early on.
EDG has used it over in China, but they play about everything in the mid lane, so no real surprise there. I want to see for Nukeduck. Again, it doesn't really fit in with the Protect AD carry, but it's simply to add another damage threat. When you run this double tank, I mean, you never want to fall in that trap where you only have one damage dealer in the late game, because it's too easy for the enemy team to itemize against him, or like try and like zone him out, and if he makes one mistake in a fight, you're gonna lose because the rest of you guys is just pure tanks running around. I mean, Janna's not gonna offer any damage. Gragas late game, I'm expecting him to build full tank, so he's not really gonna offer a whole lot either, other than just peel for your AD carry, which is what they want to do. And once you have a target low, that's when Nukeduck can go in and start cleaning up.
Let's see if he does that indeed. For now, just playing out the farm game. Neither junglers really showed much face in the lanes, but meanwhile, they don't need it up in the top. Woolite is caught out by the bubble, but Unlimited is the one taking some serious damage. Just gets away from the Voidoos. And now battered and bruised, these two are, as they go back to farming. A stalemate so far.
Copenhagen Wolves with the early wards on the top side. They will spot Jankos here on the Gragas. But he also saw the Scuttle has been killed and pinged it out for himself. So now he couldn't really do anything on the top side of the map. Just going back to farming, like we often see with these tanks here. They just kind of want to sit back, get level 6, get your Cinder Hulk, start stacking up a little bit. You know, become a bit beefy before you really look for early plays. Even though Gragas has some fairly good early ganks. Sejuani can join as well. It's just not on the same level as the likes of an Italy, a Rek'Sai, and so on.
We haven't really talked too much about the bottom lane.
Nothing to talk about.
But
Maokai
it's going
Lulu.
To be a real big farm fest for a while. I think you have a point. I'm curious to see, though, if either team doesn't see that as an opportunity to try to push in. It's very safe in both players' cases, but typically YoungBuck and Overpow have both been identified as weak points of the team by other squads. So are they going to give themselves, are they going to give each other rather just kind of that respect, or are they just going to back off?
I think they're just kind of like nullify each other. I mean, one is on a supportive top lane and one is on a big tank. Oh, Woolite taking a lot of damage here.
Yes, we see that as the heal and the exhaust comes up. Freeze, he's going to have to flash because Jankos just got in his face.
The
one
Jankos
summoner burnt there and a heal as well.
Yeah, Jankos tried to body slam flash as well, but missed it completely. I think the body slam was already done by the time he flashed away, so ends up trading flash for flash with Freeze. Airwaks not finding any walls here. We'll get a Grump and, of course, a few deep wards. Will he try and go for a gank on Overpow? I mean, they can force a flash fairly easily from him. They know Jankos just showed himself on the top side. He was very low on mana as well, so it's a safe gank. There's no chance of the enemy top laner or enemy jungler being there. And obviously, Nukeduck has been pushed back to his tower, so he won't be able to roam, but it seems like they're happy just keeping Overpow and YoungBuck kind of to do their own wet noodle fight here. Yeah. Just sit and farm, you know.
Wait till the mid game.
It's going to be about the AD carries. I was looking at like the numbers for ROCCAT, like who does the damage on the team? The average AD carry damage for a team is 27%. Like if you look across all 10 teams in Europe. On ROCCAT, Woolite does 32%. That's 5% more than the average AD carry in Europe. So he's basically the big carry on this team. He's always the guy to play around. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Copenhagen Wolves, once Airwaks hits level 6, put more focus on trying shutting him down than going for, let's say, Overpow, who's not really doing a whole lot for ROCCAT normally.
Yeah, and I feel like this maybe, I mean, despite the fact that he was effectively banned out, I think maybe this is why Nukeduck's gone for something that can really try to clean up in the event that they just can't polish off the kills. But on the other hand, Copenhagen Wolves have a number of ways to stop that Death Lotus, and it's going to be very hard for Nukeduck to try and pull this one off. If he does want to try to get the kills rolling. Let's see how that does go. For now, it's still been a very, very passive laning phase. Unlimited's going to throw down the pink ward as Vander finds it. Should be able to clear that one away, no problem. It's back to the farm fest.
That was a strange pink ward from Copenhagen Wolves.
Really, crowd likes it though.
Really, no reason to pink ward there, unless you were debating it. But we saw Airwaks while he went in the river. He just backed away instantly. So. Not really sure what they were trying to accomplish with that pink ward from Unlimited, but yeah, as you said, it's been cleared away already. And obviously the top laners back to the standard farming.
Oh yeah, no trouble for them whatsoever. A really big discrepancy that has settled in this early game so far, though, is the difference between Freeze and Woolite. And yes, you know, Kog'Maw lane's going to be not necessarily the strongest to try and push an advantage of any kind at the start of the game, but he's losing out on a lot of farm now with the BF sword being completed by Freeze. The bully potential is just starting to get a little difficult. They might be calling for some Jankos help again pretty soon.
The thing is, he has no flash, so he's going to rely on that body slam to catch Freeze. And Unlimited being thrown in.
Oh yeah, the Fate's call, but the bubble is not going to connect. Woolite, however, he's got a lot of spears sticking in him, and they will hurt coming back out. So he's going to have to go back to base.
I like this BF sword start for Freeze. I think it's the best on Kalista. It gives you such a massive spike in terms of your rent damage because it scales pretty well for you. And obviously attack speed has been slightly nerfed on Kalista, and she's no longer getting that 100% when she keeps jumping around and resetting her auto attack like she used to. So that's a bit of a lower value in that sense. And that's where if you go BT into Hurricane, I think that's fantastic, especially also for the lane pressure you do have, which is what I expect Freeze to do in this game. And we can see get 3 or 4 spears on Woolite, and then you pop your rend, and he's down, like 50% gone already, and he's forced to play so safe. Jankos. Gotta love it.
It's a little early
for
Oktoberfest.
Germany.
We're in the right country, that's true. All right, Woolite though, he does push forward into a couple more spears from Freeze, but Jankos is showing face there. Airwaks is now coming around the side as well. We could have our 3v3 right here, Deficio.
Look how easy it is for Copenhagen Wolves to predict where Jankos is going, because they've controlled the river. Airwaks has gotten every single river scuttle crab there for himself, and they've had wards as well placed along the river line. So there's only one way for Jankos to gank, and that's by walking through the tri-bush or just the lane itself. And that's why it's very easy for a Kalista to time her jump, obviously, just throw the Q and jump back. And this Gragas, he won't really catch you. And they've been using it to say, we don't care where Jankos is. We can keep pushing on Woolite, on Vander here. They're going to take the tower. They can swap down to the bottom side, get control there, which also will give them a dragon later. The Copenhagen Wolves looking very good here in the early game, just through Freeze and Unlimited.
Yeah, playing it out methodically as they can. Now Airwaks and Unlimited are going to walk through the rock at edge of the jungle by river. Should be able to get a ward cleared out there. They do. Meanwhile, ROCCAT, however, starting this Dragon off. They know they have a small timing window to take advantage of. And this is actually very smart. Don't give them the opportunity to get involved in it.
No, I like this play from ROCCAT. As you just said here, they knew the Copenhagen Wolves were going to take over the bottom side of the map. And because they recalled first while Wolves were killing the tower, it did give them this Dragon here. So at least something for ROCCAT in the early game. Very important play, especially when against these comps that are so good in the mid game. If you start falling behind, if you lose like 2 or 3 early Dragons around the 25-minute mark, suddenly you have that ticking time bomb and you just need to get to your late game point where you can win the fight so much faster than normally. ROCCAT, because they got that first Dragon, shouldn't have to worry about that for now. Jankos looking for another gank. He knows Freeze and Unlimited is on the bottom side. He has Flash ready now, but he's gonna have to get onto the tower or wait for his wave to push all the way out before he can get anything.
That man prowling through the bushes, but meanwhile up in the top, Airwaks and Soren are going to make Overpow's life just a little bit too hard. Spirit Rush is dashing in, dashing forward to get the charm, and they do not connect the Ice Bola, but it doesn't matter. Overpow, as tanky as he is, should go down. They're still chasing a flash for him, and we have an 11-minute first blood. Over to Airwaks, meanwhile, back in the bottom. Woolite gonna get caught by the bubble. The wave comes out. Exhaust is down. Here comes the Fat Man, and they knock Freeze away. He's going to dodge and evade as much as he can, popping his heel, trying to kite around. Oh, the Monsoon to push him back. That's still 3 members of ROCCAT in the middle. YoungBuck, he's going right into it. Pops his wild growth. How long can they sustain through this? Deficio Freeze throws a few more spears in a Woolite, and amazingly, no one dies.
And all this happened while Nukeduck had recalled from mid lane, gone back to base, and by the time he's back in the lane, there's been a fight in the top lane, there's been a massive fight in the bottom lane. It might not even be done yet. Woolite is staying. Freeze can throw in Unlimited here.
Smart. He is going to. They get the knockup. They get the bubble.
Why
1,
would you
2,
stay?
3.
Why would you stay?
I don't know. He gets a little bit of a parting shot, but Freeze is just fine to trade that for a kill over on his Kalista.
Yeah, not sure what Woolite was expecting there, staying on no HP. Gets punished for it, but all of this again happened because Copenhagen Wolves saw Nukeduck recall in the mid lane. Soren could then roam to the top side, get the first kill, and meanwhile take the fight bottom lane with YoungBuck coming from mid down to help. Now second tower going down. ROCCAT, yes, you have a great late game, but you cannot fall this far behind already. We're only 12 minutes in. 2 towers for Copenhagen Wolves. Mid tower down to 50% as well.
Yeah, ROCCAT, they have gotten that Dragon, but they are starting to lose some serious ground on this map. There's a decent gold advantage, 3,500 going over to the Copenhagen Wolves. A lot of that sitting on the primary carries too. You can see between Soren and Freeze, they've got quite a lot stacked in their pockets. Although Soren's been playing the much more safe game. As you look at it, as just pointed out to me, that Lulu and Zeko starting to look pretty good.
Yeah, it's been a lot of talk about Lulu and Zeko this week here. If you follow some of the analysts around the world and how, for some reason, a lot of people seem to think it's a replacement for Deathcap. It's not. You're still going to get Deathcap late game. It's not how it works. It's a great first item to snowball, because if you can just choose one item in the game, and again, as your first item, this is the one that gives you the highest damage output as an AP mage. 120 AP and the 100 magic damage proc with the scaling as well is a massive amount you won't get from any other item early on. So it's a high risk, high reward. You get it. You gotta use, your early strong power here to really snowball your lead. Otherwise, it falls behind late game and delays obviously your Deathcap, delays your void staff a little bit, and that's where the risk is for some players.
Doesn't seem too risky for the Wolves right now. They should be able to take down that last tower pretty soon. Not this wave, but the next one coming up. Map pressure controlled by them quite well. ROCCAT, again, they're ceding so much ground here, and as we saw a moment ago in the pop-ups, ROCCAT have to win this game just to stay alive in the playoff race. So it's getting down to the wire for them. The Wolves are taking advantage after advantage through their jungle now.
Yeah, and this is really another reason why Katarina doesn't really fit in with the whole setup ROCCAT is built with in the protect AD carry, because she doesn't offer any wave clear. And if there's anything Woolite is missing, it's proper wave clear to, sit back safely, get to late game, don't lose all your outer turrets. Katarina can't really do that unless she gets to walk into the minion wave itself, which she will never be allowed to do if you're sieging on a tower. And that's why Copenhagen Wolves also could just take this mid outer turret now. Bottom lane, 50% more. Oh, Woolite is caught.
Oh, yes, he is. They throw the prison down the bubble. It's Soren that grabs him, and he dashes out. Oh, the Cathian surprise, not going to connect on anybody. And a sad Woolite realizes it. Backs away. The Wolves continue to push their advantages. Rio is the only kills in this game, but they've got 3 towers to match.
And they might get a piece of Jankos. Let's see.
Oh, he's going to ult barrel. Okay, yeah, Freeze says bring it on. He, however, is taking quite a lot in return. Here comes Nukeduck. Can he clean up? That's the question. He's got his flash. TP coming in. He's going to jump and Death Lotus. Excuse me. There he goes.
Katarina does have some pretty good damage.
She does have some serious damage when you're low.
If you get to that point where Nukeduck can get into the fight.
Can't disrespect it.
And they're not too far behind. That's where, again, the Katarina can shine as the second threat on the team. It's just so tough when you don't have proper wave clear, when you don't, you know, have a strong bottom lane. Even though I don't think it's a terrible bottom lane setup that ROCCAT has, they just got really outplayed by Copenhagen Wolves. And Nami has always been a pick that did fairly well against Janna. That sustain she brings. Obviously, Janna only with the shield. YoungBuck, he's been pretty happy. He's been farming a little bit. We haven't seen too much from him.
Can't complain. He's got himself a Righteous Glory, and you know, with the buffs to that item too, it's especially useful. He's got an extra Giant's belt. It's going to be very, very hard to kill him. They did get first blood on him in a 2v1, but there were a lot of summoners burned in that situation, and I think there are bigger fish for Copenhagen Wolves to fry this game.
Well, there is, and they've fried him twice already, the poor Woolite. An AD carry who has good mechanics, especially when you talk to the ROCCAT players, but also just tend to be caught out.
It's not very mobile either. Makes it a little hard on himself.
And that's why normally when ROCCAT does really well, it's when they have like Lulu, Morgana, they have all these champions to like prevent Woolite from getting one-shotted when he does get caught. Here it's only Vander to save him. And we saw before that's not always enough.
Yeah, they're focusing a lot on this top, but investing that many people, investing even 2 people up there, including your jungler, is going to be troubling. YoungBuck could be in some trouble, but they've given up the dragon control. See if they can get a kill out of it. Here's the twisted advance. There is the wild growth. There's a lot of damage. They're beating on him left and right. YoungBuck, however, can he get away? Don't think so. Jankos will pick him up, but they're going to trade for Dragon 1 for Copenhagen Wolves.
There's no way for Copenhagen Wolves to lose this dragon or lose the fight, because you, I can see the items here. BT completed for free. Luden's Echo for Soren already. So what all the ROCCAT did here was trade objectives. We want to kill in the top tower, you get that dragon. Now, of course, Nukeduck just has to avoid being caught out. Nice little jump from him. And then it's a fine trade, honestly, for ROCCAT here, because once you're behind, it's all about trading objectives to try and get some gold at least for you. If you went down and tried to fight there, you would have lost even harder.
It's very true. However, they are going to lose this inner turret as well. So Copenhagen Wolves trade one right back. It is 4-1 on the score, but ROCCAT still trying to make it happen again on the top side. YoungBuck moving to defend. But the Wolves, for the most part, have shown really no desire to give up on this side of the map. They're just roving together as a pack and looking to push in turret number 2 in the middle.
Yeah, I mean, you're way stronger 4 versus 4, so keep playing around it. Use YoungBuck simply to clean waves for the minions and just kind of sit back and wait and let him just farm up a little bit on the Lulu. And then you just use your insanely fed Kalista already and the burst potential you got from this Ahri to create picks, because you know ROCCAT doesn't really have any responses. No Trinity Force yet for Woolite. It's only Nukeduck who has some serious damage. And for him to jump in and not get CC'd, well, the rest of the team got to be there. Now, Jankos,
yeah, they have to. YoungBuck, he's teleporting in. They back away. They did see him. The Sentinel did grab Jankos, so that gave about a moment or two's more notice to Copenhagen Wolves to get out of a potentially bad situation. Just got to worry about that displacement with the explosive cask.
I think they were expecting an engage from ROCCAT, and that's why YoungBuck TP'd in a bit early. Does mean now side lanes are going to be controlled by the minions, not YoungBuck without teleport, but you can just run with the team. Keep pushing in on these towers. You get a few hits down. You got the BT shield from Freeze, and if you get one charm, you chunk someone down. Alex, he might be in trouble, though.
Oh, he could, but that is a big Poro Rider as he flashes and continues on moving. They give up on him. ROCCAT still sitting not so pretty under this tower, a little bit below half health, and you just see the immense amount of pressure that Copenhagen Wolves continue to put on this map. Not only that, they've grabbed a lot of vision around too, and they're not going to give ROCCAT an inch.
Yeah, you got top lane pushing already from the Copenhagen Wolves. They need to go down, push out this bottom lane once they're taking this blue buff, if they want to continue their push. I'm just going to see the gold they do have. There's 1,500 on Soren, 1,400 on Freeze, so I wouldn't even blame them for going back. Reset the whole map now. Spend some of your gold early on. We're only 19 minutes in. And then what you do is you go back to your side lanes, you make sure they're slow pushing, and then you just group 5 again. You can go to this mid lane. If you don't have teleport and YoungBuck, sit 5, you will slowly but surely poke down that tower. And ROCCAT doesn't really have a lot of openings. They can try and flank engage onto you, but that's about it.
Does limit their options severely. They are down in the gold count, down in the towers, even on dragons, but that's about all it's done for them so far. Airwaks, talk about the Sejuani pick. It's definitely worked out quite well for him, although it's hard to call it experimental now. We're seeing just about everybody try to pick it up.
Would have liked to see the Locket coming in from Unlimited, though, on this Nami. I don't feel like there's a whole lot he needs to use Mikhail's for against ROCCAT. Yeah, sure, I guess the snare from a Maokai, but that's basically it. So I would have preferred ROCCAT on the Nami, and then you can go full tank on Sejuani, because what you gotta remember is you're supposed to be a late game tank in the end. If you build ROCCAT, if you go for items like Sidestone, you won't be that tanky compared to a top laner, which is why I like to see the ROCCATs being swapped over to supports more often, and you just go full tank on these big junglers here with the Synthol, because remember also bonus HP really stacks up well for you. ROCCAT doesn't offer a whole lot in that department. Well, I guess 400 is fine, but you know, compared to some of the other real tank items.
It's true, it's definitely not quite as effective. Now, the Wolves, they're looking to finish off this tower once and for all. Should be able to get it. It does go down, courtesy of Freeze. Meanwhile, Soren, he's in danger of being collapsed, but he dashes out of the way of Jankos, who burns his flash and isn't able to connect anything else. Soren, he thinks he can go in again.
Second time Jankos blows the flash here, doesn't really gain anything else. It's good dodging around from Soren, but we saw the mid lane go down. We just talked about how Copenhagen Wolves, once they're gone back to base, go straight mid lane. You will take down that tower, no problems. There's such a small amount of wave clear from ROCCAT. A full tank Gragas is not going to destroy your waves either. Nukeduck will try and get a tower for himself, but he needs to worry about this top side.
Yeah.
For the guys on the Wolves are pushing it. And
are going to be able to push this in, yes.
ROCCAT needs Nukeduck if they are to win a fight. They need him to be there. He's the Fed member. He got Luden's Echo now as well on his Katarina. Obviously, with the resets, he can get a lot of procs off in a short amount of time.
Yeah, they were able to clear the wave ROCCAT was on that side, so they do successfully push the Wolves away, and they grab the tower on top of it. So it turned out not too bad for them. However, now they have a heavy task ahead of them to try and push back. Ooh, YoungBuck's back is stopped. That's a good start. To try and get the ward game under control as well. Overpow looking to start a fight, turns on his Vengeful Maelstrom and pops it right back off. They can't get anything off of that. Dragon, about a minute away. ROCCAT will look to deny this, if they can.
If they can, but it's also what Copenhagen Wolves want. A big fight out in the open here when you have that item advantage already. Phantom Dancer for Freeze, he's so much stronger than Woolite at this point. And as long as they have some proper wards set up beforehand, they're gonna see the ROCCAT team walking into the pit, and you can very easily choose your fight. Tidal Wave in a choke point, that's enough. Yeah, 50 CS difference between the AD carries at this point. Around almost 40 in the mid lane for Soren as well over Nukeduck. And it's fun with ROCCAT and Copenhagen Wolves. I mean, they're two teams who kind of set up the same way. The two carries are the mid lane and the AD carry. You got supportive top laners. You have two early aggressive junglers in Airwaks and Jankos. The difference is that Soren and Freeze has been better than Nukeduck and Woolite. Nearly all split long. And that's why Copenhagen Wolves are above them in the standings. Looking great for this game as well. And as we said before, if the Wolves win, they are almost guaranteed to be in the playoffs.
And ROCCAT are definitely guaranteed to not be after the fact. Yeah, that would definitely give them a really solid tiebreaker, the 2-0 if they win this one. ROCCAT, you know, they need to pull something out quickly. Otherwise, they'll keep falling further and further behind. It's about a 5,000 gold edge to the Wolves right now, and they've been the ones controlling the pace of this game from the get-go.
From the get-go. Obviously helps that you're winning your lane top side, the two AD carries so hard. But yeah, a lot of key items completed for the Wolves. Obviously, Sejuani is not that tanky at this point, but it's more than enough to stop Woolite from doing a whole lot. Again, it's going to be all about Nukeduck here. If the Wolves overextend in a fight, there's a chance for Katarina to jump in and clean it up. That can always happen. You can always have to respect that damage and the reset potential of a Katarina. It's basically just relies on the Copenhagen Wolves making a mistake. You have the Kalista as well, so you can bait a fairly early Baron. Get all these Rend stacks on. You got the BT to buff up the damage. And that Baron is yours. But they don't really need it. I mean, go in, take control of this topside jungle. You got a big wave pushing on the top side as well. If you go up here now and push it in, you force Overpow to teleport, and then you just back away.
Oh yeah.
Starting the Baron though.
This is a ballsy call from the Wolves, but they have bought enough distraction up in the top. Yeah, look at this. They are not even aware that this is happening. ROCCAT are not going to be able to move to stop this, but it's going to be a while before the damage really gets there. No, they have to back away. Airwaks is just taking too much abuse.
He has no armor. I mean, you're not really going to...
They felt it out. It just didn't work, but they didn't get punished for it, importantly.
I think they just mainly tried to force a teleport from Overpow, but he got to move in time, and it was too easy for ROCCAT to stop it. And trying to respond in the mid lane. Tidal Wave does connect on Woolite, but there's no real engage because Sejuani is very low.
It forced them off the tower. So they do defend that, but it took about half of its HP, or is now down to about half its HP, rather. As you see the wave clear here in for the Wolves, when they do manage to muster, they're able to push it back. No problem. ROCCAT will look for other angles to press an edge if they can, but they got to deal with the top lane as well.
So, Copenhagen Wolves, no reason to keep baiting the Baron. You can still play around, pushing in waves, get a few hits on the tower every single time. There's still not enough wave clear from ROCCAT's side to really prevent you from getting a few hits. So go back to what you did before. It worked for you. You got teleport on YoungBuck as well if you want him in the opposite side lane. I wouldn't recommend it at this point because you want him to shield your AD carry when he goes in.
Yeah, despite the fact ROCCAT are behind though, and you know they have been, and it seems like it's been getting worse and worse. They do want the game to be a little more slow, a little more paced like this. So the fact that the Wolves have sort of backed off the aggression is very good for them.
It's all ROCCAT wants and needs. Which is again why every time Wolves start a Baron, if ROCCAT can go in and stop them, they win basically. Not the game, but it's, you know, small wins because it delays the game.
It's the little things.
It gives them more time. Yeah, of course, it gives them more time. Woolite is still pretty far behind. Will probably be for the rest of the game unless we go to 50 minutes and he can complete his last item.
Let's not make any bold predictions. Yeah, let's see what happens with that. So far, the Wolves still do control a good portion of the map, but ROCCAT, they've done a good job of clearing the vision out of their own jungle and pushing them back, keeping them in the dark, and importantly, not giving up any more of these buffs. You see Woolite's able to get the doubles now.
Again, it's because Copenhagen Wolves have suddenly slowed down the whole pace. They used to control this jungle.
I think they got spooked after the Baron attempt.
Possibly, but you shouldn't. You're still very far ahead. Your AD carry is extremely strong at this point. Your Ahri's nearly completed her third item. If you take control of this jungle and you force ROCCAT to face shake you in that jungle to try and potentially stop a Baron, Soren sits in a bush, lands a charm, one-shots a target, that's your Baron. Like, that's all you need. So focus on getting control of the top side jungle. Follow the waves in like they're doing now. Notice how ROCCAT, yes, they can clear the waves, but there's always a few hits on this tower every single time, and that's enough to force ROCCAT to stay and defend.
Yeah, Unlimited takes quite a lot of damage off the Kog'Maw here, and there's teleport coming in as Jankos could be in some trouble, but wait a minute. Oh, they turn it around with Airwaks throwing in the Glacial Prison Overpow, trying to draw attention to himself in the front, but this is a fight that ROCCAT aren't sure they want to take. The Wild Growth is going to make Airwaks even bigger, but can they chase him down? He's gonna dash his way to safety, but ROCCAT are the ones on the chase. What can they do here? Looks like nothing.
Nothing. Nukeduck couldn't get in there. Try and get Sejuani down for the first reset, but we saw ROCCAT what they can do when they have the two big tanks in the front. How hard it is for Copenhagen Wolves already now to kill the likes of Overpow. I mean, he can dance around there for days. You need both Soren and Freeze to focus the same target.
Oh, he's going in. Yes, he is. They're going to try and force a fight here. Airwaks, there's a couple of key ultimates still down. He's a little bit low. There's the Monsoon to blow him back. Twisted Man to jump on. Here comes Nukeduck. Woolite's going to pick up the kill, however. They answer back to Overpow. Nukeduck nearly picks Unlimited, but he has to back away. Exhaust down on Freeze. It's a double kill for Woolite. This is the AD carry dream. He's going for more, but it's Vander who picks up Freeze. And it is a 3-for-1. Wait a minute, we're not done. There goes Soren to make it 3-for-2. As he picks up Vander. Woolite in some trouble at the double. Soren, can he do more? He's dashing. He's going in, but it's going to be the Acathian surprise. The shield is on. Jankos on the chase, but the Fox trying to outrun the Fat Man. I think I know how this ends. It's an ace for ROCCAT.
And this entire setup here, credit to ROCCAT. They kept wards in their own jungle, so they saw the Copenhagen Wolves moving there. They knew the fight was about to happen. They got the two big tanks in the front. And then simply managed to chase up. Nukeduck got a kill for himself as well.
As Jankos does a little jig on his back, he's definitely
3 kills for Woolite.
Importantly, they got 3 kills on one of the carries. Let's see how this really crazy fight unfolded.
Yeah, so this is second engage, obviously. It's been a big fight. Notice the minimap here. Soren is sitting in the top lane. That's why ROCCAT is engaging 5 versus 4. Woolite joining in, and now Nukeduck is going to come in from the side as well, getting that first kill onto Airwaks. I want to try and clean it up. Unlimited survives. We're back in action though, guys, because there's going to be more fights.
Yep, it hasn't ended. This time, ROCCAT, they're growing bolder. They think they can take on a fight at the Dragon. It's certainly being started up.
Soren
some more vision. Soren's not around. This is a 5v4, as you said. They're going to go ahead and start it, but they may be taking a little bit too much time. Copenhagen Wolves, can they get the flank on? Scuttlecraft controlled by ROCCAT. They think better of it, and they are going to take their time about this, but this has bought enough time for Soren to make his way over to the Dragon. Will they give this one up? Will they try to fight for it continuously? It's getting dangerously low. Who's going to get the smite off? It looks like it's going to go over to Jankos, and the fight's begun. A whole lot of ultimates just popped. Airwaks, he gets pushed back, but he gets the Glacial Prison on, and he hasn't gone down. Nukeduck, he's going to be taken out by Freeze. Meanwhile, Woolite also evaporated. It's a double kill for the AD carry this time of the Copenhagen Wolves. Soren with the chase on Woolite picks off Airwaks. Vander just barely able to dodge the charm, but he gets picked up by Soren anyways. And it is a 1-for-3, but ROCCAT secure their second Dragon.
Sure, they got the second Dragon here, but a lot of kills for Copenhagen Wolves, and that ulti from Airwaks was fantastic. He delayed it, he saw Nukeduck jumping in. He's gone for the Luden's Echo, and as we said, it does delay some of your core items. I mean, you're not going to get that Outlast on a Katarina, so if you get caught in the middle of the enemy team, you're going to die. That's exactly what happened before here with the ulti from Airwaks. Once we get the replay, we can see it again. But the Wolves, they're starting Baron, 4 guys alive, 2 big tanks on their way from ROCCAT. They gotta just get in there, start brawling around that Baron here, and make sure Copenhagen Wolves keep tanking it.
Well, they're going around the side. Jankos, he's got no ult to try and stop this, but they do have enough HP to distract. The Wolves have now peeled off of the Baron, chasing down Overpow. He's surely going to go down here, but he does do a serious amount of damage, and they have stopped the Baron attempt yet again.
Might lose the tower as well, the Copenhagen Wolves. They keep putting so much focus on this Baron, and ROCCAT keeps finding ways to stop them. Obviously, Overpow went down here, but again, they got that tower for ROCCAT. Suddenly still 4K gold behind. It looked a lot worse.
It did.
Go back like 10, 15 minutes.
And the gold gap doesn't matter as much when you get 30, 40, 50 minutes into the game.
When you get 4 kills on your hyper carry, suddenly...
They have been a little scared of Nukeduck, I feel. They've been backing off. They've been focusing a lot of the CC on him, understandably. But now there's this threat of a 4-4-2 Kog'Maw, who's going to be able to kite pretty effectively thanks to the Blade of the Rune King on top of the rest of his team being right in front of him.
And obviously the Wolves not really running a comp that dives the enemy backline here. Ahri has a bit of a tough time doing it. Often when she's like in these big fights, you Spirit Rush around, you're gonna hit the tanks with most of your AoE damage. So you need to either like flank around on Woolite if you want to kill him. Oh, it's just gonna be Airwaks going in there. He now has a Frozen Heart for himself, so we'll have some defensive stats at least. And obviously attack speed slow.
Honestly, this Gragas pick is really fantastic for Baron defense. Just throw a barrel in, and Unlimited takes that much damage just trying to clear out the board.
And if you fight in choke points against double tank and they're in the front, you're never gonna hit anyone else but those 2 tanks, which is what ROCCAT wants here. So if you get caught in that Baron pit, it's tough for the Copenhagen Wolves to do anything. They start again.
It's time to peel off again. Oh, but they found Overpow.
Yeah.
He's going to be right in the middle. Twisted advance in. This is going to force the fight to start from ROCCAT. Overpow going so low. They've got him extremely low, but they haven't been able to pick him off as he pops his righteous glory. But Woolite, he's taken down. That can't be good for ROCCAT. Nukeduck gets popped as well. They do return fire onto Unlimited, but it's a double kill going over to Soren, looking for a triple, looking for Freeze to pick up Jankos as well, and he will. That is a triple kill for Ahri, and that is the ace for Unlimited. Now it's Baron time.
Now you get your Baron. Another fight here. ROCCAT was split up on 2 sides. They got engaged in Overpow. Took a little while to kill him, but the important part was that Woolite separated from Vander. And suddenly you could catch him out. Well played by Soren in that one. 8 kills now on this Ahri. Has that death cap completed.
Talk about a snowball with the Luden's Echo.
Of course.
Baron's going down, and he is eventually smited out. Let's see how this fight goes, though, Deficio.
So again, look here. Jankos is out of the picture. He's on the north side of the Baron. So Overpow is kind of on his own here tanking. ROCCAT doesn't really have an opening to go in with Nukeduck. And then notice what Soren is doing. He's walking around the wall. He sees Woolite down here. On his own, jumps the wall after the stun from Airwaks, and you just blow him up instantly. Nukeduck as well being caught in. The 2 carries being locked down by another good ulti from Airwaks. He's been landing some pretty good ones on this Sejuani. And that's why Copenhagen Wolves can now clean it up. And after 5 attempts, they will get their Baron.
And an ace to boot. That's certainly not a bad result. So they keep at it. The Wolves try again. They get the Baron. 34 minutes into the game, they've got a serious gold lead now, and it definitely matters in this case. Only 1 tower edge. We'll see if that changes anytime soon. The Wolves are in a prime position to push up.
You just got a triple kill and you buy Rylai's on Ahri. I don't agree on that one. At this time, you need to get your Void stuff completed. You still have these 2 tanks you got to deal with. They have quite a lot of MR build up. There should have been a Void stuff from Soren. You don't really want to stack more HP either against Woolite here, so don't agree on that one from him. But we're going to have to see if it does cost him anything. 0 defensive items, obviously, unless you count in the HP from the Rylai's and the MR from Bissell. But no Hourglass to help him. And Freeze, I like the Blade. I really like Blade in his current meta now with these big tanks. It gives you so much extra damage towards the late game when you gotta clean up the big guys.
Gotta clean up some towers as well. So yeah, with that Baron buff, with the powered minions, we're able to handily clean that one up, and no barrels are gonna stop this. Jankos has to dash his way away. Nukeduck takes a lot of damage from the Orb of Deception as well, and they just keep chunking it down. They can't quite touch the cannon minion in the back, Deficio, and that is some serious wave clear from the Copenhagen Wolves side. More backup from the minions is incoming. Voidoo's and the Tornado are only gonna push him back for a short while.
Yeah, and this full single target build here from Freeze just to, you know, again, combine it with Ahri, and you land Charm on one of the tanks. You got a lot of single target damage, no Hurricane, just to take down the tank.
Oh, Airwaks
Airwaks
is knocked in. Let's see if they can take him down. Maybe not, because they get the wild growth that they start to force it, and there's a big Glacial Prison. However, they weren't in position to quite capitalize on the kills. They did take the tower, and Jankos charmed up, dashing back, but he's out of this fight. Here comes Nukeduck. Can he get the cleanup? No, it's Soren who takes him down. Inhibitor now under fire. Woolite, Jankos too low to do anything about it. Overpow just trying to toss in the sapling, but it won't do anything but slow Soren down as the Wolves have turned on the gas and taken Inhibitor 1.
I mean, really, again, we see the damage here from Nukeduck whenever he goes in, but we also see when he goes in, he's going to be the focus. He's going to get locked down, nothing to save him. He will end up dying. And because these two tanks from ROCCAT simply hasn't really been able to get in there as well with him, it's easy for the Copenhagen Wolves to single him out. Got Inhibitor down. Dragon is live. We will see another fight, but Nukeduck is dead for another 10 seconds. ROCCAT, you got to back away from this one. You don't want to take a 5 versus 4.
And we're hoping they might be able to get some vision in before it happened, but it looks like that's just cleared away quite quickly. The Wolves, once again, in sole possession of this Dragon Pit. They will be able to fire it down. Really don't need much more than Freeze and Airwaks, but let's see that Inhibitor take up top.
Right, so Copenhagen Wolves using Freeze with this BT. Just get a few hits on the tower every time, and Airwaks just get knocked back. This is fine setup from the Wolves, but don't have the damage now to kill him. Obviously, Katarina doesn't really want to go in on the big tank. So Nukeduck is staying, he's just outside your picture now. Ulti coming in, that gives the tower, and then let's see what happens. Jankos get poked, Overpow is back in the fountain, so whenever Nukeduck goes in, it's gonna be on his own. Yes, his damage is fantastic, but he's also singled out. Good bubble and everything.
Yeah, he didn't quite get Freeze or Unlimited. He was very, very close in all of that. Meanwhile, after Dragon number 3, Copenhagen Wolves are looking to push down, this time on the bottom side, slowly but surely, choking ROCCAT out of their own base. Ooh, close call on the charm by Jankos. This time, the Orb of Deception does hit him. Just another war of attrition, Deficio. It looks like Copenhagen Wolves in firm control of this game.
The Super Minions coming on the top side. When they push down to that Nexus tower, ROCCAT obviously have to go back, and if you're a bit unlucky, they position themselves on the side of the Nexus tower, so only one of them is going to hit the minions, making it even slower for them to take them down, and you will end up losing one if you don't react. And one guy moving away from ROCCAT's side should mean a lot of free damage for the Copenhagen Wolves. They have all the waves pushing in. Jankos again, he's trying to use the base gate to get a flank here and just knock someone back into his team. Preferably would be the Kalista if Freeze goes in for an auto attack, but as soon as they see him in the mid lane, they can now move in.
Yeah, they have to really worry about these super minions hammering away at the Nexus turrets, but they're not moving to defend.
It's only the one tower, now the second one joined in just for a little while there, so these minions here won't get affected by the second tower.
Nukeduck goes in. He's actually hasn't gone in to clear this up. He thinks and hesitates for just a moment. The tower's barely safe, but they're definitely going to lose this Inhibitor turret, and they might lose more. Here comes the fight. Overpow going in, going out. Vander going nowhere as he gets taken down for the unstoppable kill, and a double going over to Freeze. This might be it. A double kill, however, returned by Nukeduck. Maybe they can push them back. He is going to get even more kills. YoungBuck bails out at the last moment with another double kill for Woolite as well. ROCCAT, they managed the defense, but it cost them a lot.
It did. She lost the tower, but man, whenever Nukeduck gets in there, that is some serious damage. Death cap now completed.
You have to respect the Katarina.
Yeah, you have to respect the damage. He's sitting on 650 AP at this point.
Let's see that again.
Pretty sure he did. All right, let's see it again.
Oh, is that low a cooldown?
Let's see. Well, he got the resets obviously from it.
Oh, that's true.
Tower goes down from the Wolves. We got the 2 minutes, so Nukeduck is back defending. This opens up for the Wolves to take the tower. Let's see what happens. Onto the tanks first. Overpow tanking it up now. First ulti really missing from Airwaks. Now Katarina goes in.
You're totally right. Yes, this is ridiculous resets that he gets the double kill. And then after that, it's cleanup duty. Woolite picks up Airwaks. He's able to pick
It's always fun being the AD carry.
Yeah.
If you just have to be like, oh, I'm going to take a kill there, or I need to right-click that guy, there's another kill. That's lovely.
But they're putting a lot now on Woolite and Nukeduck, and you can't guarantee that that's how it's going to shake out every fight. They've lost one inhibitor, they nearly lost another. They've got one tower outside of their nexus and one badly damaged inside. I mean, how many more attempts does Copenhagen Wolves have to make here, Deficio?
It's a tough question. Depends again on how they play the fights.
That's true. It's all come down to it.
Keep in mind, Airwaks completely missed his ult in that last fight, and that's what they've been using to lock down the Katarina in the last few fights here. There's no cleanse or anything, no me kills from Vander to help. If Nukeduck gets caught by the Sejuani ulti, by a Whimsy or whatever, he will end up dying, and that's of course what the Copenhagen Wolves are aiming for. So they're gonna kite in the start, hit on these tanks here, and just wait for the Katarina to come in, and whenever she jumps, you turn your attention to her, you blow up, and that's how you win the fight.
It's a dangerous game of chicken back to the current as they look to try and bait the Baron. Just try to keep the attention of ROCCAT outside of their own base. Meanwhile, Woolite pushing in the middle, but there's no one back home. You're right. This is going to be very, very rough for ROCCAT. They have to go in, and they have to go now if they want to make something happen. They're losing towers. Tornado's not going to connect. Oh, that is good timing, or very, very lucky for ROCCAT. Now they have bought a moment to go in. Overpow is going to be the one to do it. Airwaks gets the wild growth on him again. He gets knocked back in. There's going to be Woolite picking up a kill and a killing spree for himself, but that's all that they're going to get right now. Soren looking for revenge, but they've popped a speed boost.
All they need again to stop Copenhagen Wolves. Get that one kill. It's only Airwaks in the front. Nukeduck didn't manage to pick it up. Instead, Woolite got another one. He's really been getting all the kills in the fights. And I said if he goes to that 50-minute mark, he will be catching up.
Yeah.
And we're getting close.
They're hanging on, but it's really dangerous for both teams here. YoungBuck taking some serious damage. Woolite as well. The Orbit Deception is starting to sting quite a bit. Copenhagen Wolves, though, not quite as sure of themselves as they were. They've given up some map control here now. If only ROCCAT can start pushing out on the map, they can grab that for themselves.
It's so insane if ROCCAT managed to come back and win this game. Because then it simply means the two teams are tied in the standings. They play, Copenhagen Wolves play Giants tomorrow, ROCCAT plays MYM, two teams you are expected to beat. So they will end up, securing 2 wins for ROCCAT, 1 win for Copenhagen Wolves, be tied for their potential playoff spot. And if Elements as well manage to go 2-0 this week, they will be tied with them, and we're going to have a 3-way tie where the winner goes to the playoffs and the loser goes to the promotion tournament. And obviously, again, in the middle, we got number 7, who's going to be safe.
And one team gets some time off.
Yeah, they get some time off.
But the point is, this is very, very close. ROCCAT are doing their damnedest just to make sure that they do not let themselves be on.
They have to win this game. They have to win. Otherwise, they're going to be fighting to avoid promotion.
Yeah, you cannot afford to take the Dragon when Copenhagen Wolves are sitting on the Baron. They are going not to start it up as they see the blue trinket coming out to sight them. Crucial use there by Woolite. ROCCAT are in position.
Every single fight, just look at the Katarina. Just try and follow her around. That's the key for both teams. One team needs to shut her down, another team needs to obviously make her go in and kill everyone.
Well, there's also a Kog'Maw too.
There is.
You never discount anything.
He's second. Again, we gotta get the Katarina first. Unless obviously you can catch him out, but there is QSS for Woolite. You got the Janna most likely standing next to him as well to protecting. Once Nukeduck goes in, he's on his own. Didn't even bother to upgrade his trinket. I mean, it's
they've got so
pure
many
damage.
They've got so many speed boosts too on the side of ROCCAT. I mean, 2 Righteous Glories, a Talisman of Ascension, also a Random Omen just to keep the slowdown if they do get these fights going. So it's really all about getting the move speed, negating the opponent's move speed. Now Woolite is going to be able to sneaky grab this Dragon. It is number 3 for ROCCAT. So now Dragon number 4 for either team will be the next. ROCCAT are hanging on here.
Pyra. That is correct.
Yeah. They're 9,000 gold down, but again, it doesn't matter quite so much when you're still able to fight.
And the Wolves realize that baiting that Baron is probably not the smartest again because they keep taking so much damage from it. Take an open fight on this inhibitor if you want to fight it. Down to 50%. Can ROCCAT find the engage? They want to go for freeze here, but he's already stacked up with all these shields here. You see YoungBuck standing in the back, always shielding freeze as well.
They have to do it soon if they want to make the
yeah,
defense.
They want to
There's another
save
wave
it.
coming. could be extremely dangerous for ROCCAT. They look like they are about to lose this one. Now would be the time to start. Airwaks actually very low, but Jankos eats a charm. Orb Deception follows suit. Inhibitor very, very low. Just a few hits would do it, and another wave would be all it takes. Soren and the rest of the Wolves, however, have bailed out.
Have to make them back away. Now obviously ROCCAT cannot fall asleep in their own base. You gotta move out so you stop that potential Baron as well.
Let's going far here. Gotta be careful.
Never really... You can never just sit back once you've fallen this far behind. But obviously they are back in the game. 9k gold lead for the Wolves. They're setting up a small trap.
Vander doesn't check close enough to it.
The ward, they saw them on the ward beforehand before he used the sweeper on it.
They know this is happening.
Where they're moving from, all right. Nope.
Oh, that push is full of Wolves. You gotta respect that, but the Wolves also have to respect ROCCAT moving in force, and now looks like the fight might start. Overpow is the one who's knocked up. There's the tidal wave as well as he's pulled in by the Face Call. In comes Soren around the side. Vander does not go down. Nukeduck and Woolite, keep your eye on him, that's for sure. It looks like Overpow is going to be the one bearing the brunt of the damage, but the Wolves, unable to capitalize on anyone, have to back away.
So fun to see how two teams, they don't really want to commit because, again, that is waiting for that one champion to make a play. Nukeduck needs to see an opening and the Wolves need to see him go in. And they just played so safe every time. They got Vander down, they're starting the Baron again. This ward will spot them, now it's being cleared out. And the rest of ROCCAT is already here to stop it. Wolves have been poked down. Soren has no ulti. Wolves needs to back away from this one. They don't want to take a fight right now.
No, they don't. Now the Skullcrab trying especially going to be able to speed up ROCCAT. Looks like they're going to go in for it. Twisted advance. He got hung up on a wall, but he goes in anyway. Soren, he could go down in this one. Is he going to? That's the question. No, he gets Wild Growth moving around the back. Meanwhile, the minions are going to be pushing in on the inhibitor in the bottom, but the Wolves look like they're the ones losing this fight. YoungBuck goes down, courtesy of Vander. 3 members of the Wolves backing away. Could this be a Baron for ROCCAT, though?
It will be, for sure, for ROCCAT here. The Wolves, they started their Baron. No ulti for Soren, he was barely out of mana as well, almost out of mana. Did lose inhibitor in the bottom lane, but that's a fine trade for ROCCAT by getting this Baron. Hourglass coming in for Nukeduck soon. Currently sitting on only 500 gold. That's going to be a bit of a while for him, but the 2 carries he has really caught up. 2k gold for Woolite, 16,000. Getting towards his late game build.
Well, the map objectives have definitely been split this game.
This Baron, this Baron for the Copenhagen Wolves, they tried so many times, and it's cost them a lot in this game.
It's very, very dangerous to go up against a Katarina that's definitely ramped up, a Kog'Maw that's definitely ramped up, and a team that is hell-bent on protecting the both of them and starting the fight at any cost whatsoever. Copenhagen Wolves, they were stalled out in the mid-game. Yes, they grabbed some inhibitors. Yes, it looked for a moment, horrible moment for ROCCAT that they might lose then and there, but they were able to fend them off time and time again. This game is tense.
It is, and look at Free's build here. We obviously see BT first on Kalista fairly often, then he went to Phantom Dancer, then he went Blade. That really delayed his Infinity hit so much. He's building towards it now, but not even having that completed 47 minutes into the game hurts your damage.
Yeah, he's only got 378 AD right now.
It basically means for him, it's the Blade, and then obviously his rent damage that counts. But when you have these 2 tanks in your face, it is tough to get enough stacks on them. And suddenly it's going to be more about him trying maybe dive past them and get to these squishies, but you're not going to do that. ROCCAT is the ones deciding when to go in with their carries and when not to.
You got to wonder if Freeze hadn't gotten the damage earlier, if they maybe had been able to clear those Barons and those objectives a lot quicker. But as it stands...
No. That's not really the problem for him. It's more them, going back to Baron over and over has made it very easy for ROCCAT to defend because they just got to show themselves at the Baron. And now
they show themselves in a push. Airwaks, though, he is once again going to get that Wild Growth off, but he's knocked back and isolated from the team, and they take him down, Wild Growth and all. The Wolves, licking their wounds, have to run away from their own trap.
We've gone really late game here, Pyra.
Yes, we have.
Yes, we have.
Although we've seen ROCCAT games go late game not end so well for them.
But that's often been when it was all about Woolite.
It's true. This time you've got Nukeduck.
Yeah, this is one of the first times we see Nukeduck on a bit of a more, a carry really in the late game. Often for him, it's been more these assassins where he was going to shine in the mid game, and then it was about Woolite in the late game. Now it's really about both of them.
And now ROCCAT have a siege. You can see how quick they're starting to take down these turrets. The inhibitor one being fired under. There's a teleport coming in for Overpow just to try and force the Wolves back. Their own inhibitor could be in some serious trouble, and it looks like it will go down. The Wolves have backed away, and they've allowed this to happen. But what can you do against a team that's taken it down that fast?
Not a whole lot. Just got to surrender that one. Dragon, 20 seconds. You said earlier the 4th one is going to be the next, and you are Honors were incorrect.
Depends on who gets it.
Depends on who gets it.
It's true.
It's a 3-3, so someone will get number 4 now. ROCCAT is in prime position.
So
they just gotta make sure the Wolves don't suddenly rush the base and get an inhibitor, and that's why they're backing away. The Wolves, bit of a mind game here. You know, the Wolves trying to go mid to force ROCCAT to go back and defend, and ROCCAT obviously don't really want to give up the entire Dragon area. Seems like they do for now.
They need to stall for a moment because they didn't have Overpow. It would have been dangerous to take a 4v5.
Yeah.
They're going to give up this Dragon. They have to defend their dead inhibitor still. So the Wolves will pick up Dragon number 4, but they haven't arrived at number 5 yet. So ROCCAT, they still have some time. 50 minutes on the clock right now. We are getting into very late game territory, Deficio.
I mean, we see how fast Airwaks dies now when he goes in. He's on his own. When he jumps in there.
He's the tankiest member.
Yeah.
With a wild growth.
That really is the worry. Suddenly the Copenhagen Wolves got to completely change the play style and keep looking for flanks.
I think he's going for a Guardian Angel.
Could also be a Thorn Mail.
That's true. But there's a lot of AP as well on the side of ROCCAT.
The thing is just, I mean, for Copenhagen Wolves here, if you want to get Woolite, gotta flank around on him. Otherwise, you're never gonna get to him. Unless he, of course, makes a mistake. If you want to get to Nukeduck before he jumps in, it's the same deal. And that allows you again, or that requires you, to like sit and wait in the bush, like we've seen the Wolves do a few times in a jungle. The problem is, ROCCAT doesn't really have a reason to go into the jungle for the next many minutes. Baron is gone. Your base is open anyway. You just wait in your base. You don't risk face checking for, like, say, a red buff. So finding those traps for the Wolves are extremely hard to do now. And then you will get these big 5-on-5 team fights out in the open, where it's ROCCAT deciding when to send in the carries and when not to.
Yeah, we've seen the pace of the game really turned on its head in the beginning and much of the mid game. The Wolves were really the ones that were dictating the pace 100% of the time. Now you see ROCCAT with these 2 mega tanks, a couple of iron elixirs on them. I mean, really, really, really big front line to deal with. And then there is the threat of Nukeduck, the double-pronged threat of Woolite. And then, of course, Vander's been fairly solid at landing the Monsoons when he needs to keep his team alive and just to salvage any fights that go awry.
There's so many movement speed buffs as well. Double Righteous Glory, you got the Talisman for Vander as well. No Captain's Boots, however, for disengaging. Instead of going for the Home Guards earlier. Can change that one once he feels like he has to go for it. And it simply means for ROCCAT, whenever they want to fight, they can go for it. They can decide to keep forcing the Wolves to play super careful. Freeze now has that Infinity Edge we mentioned earlier. So no defensive items for him. If he gets caught up by the Katarina, he dies in a few seconds.
Indeed he does. ROCCAT aren't keen on letting any of themselves get caught out, even though even though Woolite is on his own up in the top. Not truly, because the rest of them are moving there right now. So this time ROCCAT, they're the ones who are able to push where they want. They very much evened up the gold gap. We saw a graph just a few moments ago that it had kind of been going down more in favor of ROCCAT and evening up, and now they're only about 2,000 behind. I mean, considering how down they were, almost 10,000 in the hole, it's a massive comeback for ROCCAT in the economics department.
It is. They really got to that late game point. So what they're doing now is you look at the bottom lane, there's a big wave being pushed from ROCCAT. That's why they go for the top lane, because they also know if YoungBuck shows himself, he's part of the wave clear from the Copenhagen Wolves, so that should mean they can push in at least 1 tower. In this case, for them, they are just going to back away, though. For now,
is less than half a minute
that's
away.
The focus
this
instead.
Is very much what both teams are after.
Nukeduck still didn't upgrade his trinket. We are very late in the game because 250 gold to upgrade
It's an extra ward, man. That's really useful.
Yeah, it's a fantastic upgrade. Super gold efficient for you.
You can afford it.
You can even swap it in so you get the pink wards here in the late game if you wanted to set up the likes of Baron. There's still a Copenhagen Wolves pink ward in the pit. Hasn't been played yet from ROCCAT side, so they're not going to be able to bait anything. Not really trying to either, just dancing around. We're going to see another big fight in this river, that's for sure.
Yep. Stakes are getting higher and higher. Jankos is going to go ahead and dash his way over the wall. There's a Copenhagen Wolves ward there that they're standing on, unaware of it. Meanwhile, Wolves themselves are passing by a couple of ROCCATs. And back to wave clearing in the middle. There we go. They should be able to clear the wards out of the Baron pit. Vander accomplishes that.
Show from ROCCAT.
Yeah, they got the Scuttle Crab Shrine. They're not starting this one yet. Very, very dangerous. The Wolves are here. They've got something to prove if they can finish this one off. Inhibitor's coming back up now for Copenhagen Wolves, so they won't have too much to worry about for the short time being. Gotta be careful not to get poked out, though.
This is like
artillery is getting a little heavy.
It's like one of the worst moments as a player, because you know both bases are so open, so if you lose that team fight, they can rush straight down and finish the game. And it's so tense, because nobody wants to make the mistake, which often makes players play more careful, because they don't want to risk anything. Instead, though, ROCCAT going in, they tried to force Nukeduck away. Can they get anything?
You'll see in a moment, Vander, he's going to be able to pop his ultimate, and in comes Airwaks to try and push them all back. Nukeduck is going to shunpo onto the ward, but Soren picks up Vander. Into the pit goes Airwaks. It's a double kill going over to Soren. They get picked up Woolite here. Nukeduck, he's down in the middle of it all. The Wolves, it looks like they have done it, but there's still some work to do. Jankos being chased back into his own base, dashes and flashes, but will it be enough? Soren fully on the aggressive here, but with 3 members down and a minute on the death timers, Deficio, this looks like the Copenhagen Wolves are ready to wrap this one up. They're not even going to wait for the minions. They're just going to go ahead and tank up these Nexus turrets. Can Jankos and Overpow save the day? They're certainly going to try. Fensel Maelstrom on the tower laser, still firing on Airwaks, but it's down. Number 1, Overpow. Can he make the defense? They're trying. Airwaks, oh so low. They've taken out Freeze, but there's just too many members of the Wolves here. Overpow, he picks up Airwaks. Oh my goodness, Soren is able to answer back. It's only Jankos now. 30 seconds still on the timer. There's still a turret left here.
They won't be able to finish now. Get inhibitor instead for the Copenhagen Wolves. Jankos, they managed to defend. Okay, it's not over yet.
Oh, he's caught in the charm. There's a bubble. There's the polymorph. Jankos, he's going to try to, oh my goodness, the shutdown on Soren as his mana runs out. Big fat man's hard to kill. How about a double kill? Can we see a triple? Almost as Unlimited gets the bubble. There's the dash, there's the barrel, but it won't be enough. And the Copenhagen Wolves, they don't have enough to finish this game. The flash, tornado, Unlimited, the barrel, it's an ace for Team ROCCAT.
Wow, this game.
It's not gonna end.
It's not over yet. Baron is still alive. There's loads of minions from the Copenhagen Wolves. ROCCAT got to clear them out. There's still 1 Nexus.
There's 2 downed inhibitors.
Dragon is up now, so number 4 for ROCCAT. We might even get a potential 5th Dragon in this game here. The Wolves. So they got 2 inhibitors. Didn't lose the Baron yet. So technically, despite them dying here, didn't really lose too much. Nothing ROCCAT could really take other than this Dragon. Then they can go back to base. We reset the whole thing again. No, honestly, ROCCAT might be able to go Baron here. Wolves are going to lose a lot more. Ignore what I just said before, because look, 15 seconds on Soren, 30 seconds on
20 on YoungBuck.
They should be able, once Overpow is there, you got Woolite as well, to take this Baron.
I think this is the plan, absolutely. Copenhagen Wolves, just by virtue of the fact that they weren't able to end the game and they tanked up the turrets due to a lack of minions, yeah, there's going to be a blue trinket coming down. So this is known to be happening here. Airwaks is in there. You could potentially try and smite seal. YoungBuck's going to TP straight off the back. Do ROCCAT have enough damage? Yes, there is only 3 here, but how much do they dare to risk it? Baron is oh so low. They're getting chased out of this one. There's going to be the Baron going down. The Glacial Prison won't do enough, and Airwaks is isolated from his team. The Wolves, have they made the fatal mistake? They're going to try to bail out of this one as ROCCAT has the Baron. They're still pushing forward. Airwaks with the Wild Growth staying alive. Jankos dashes, and he gets charmed on the backside, but now ROCCAT have to go back and defend their last Nexus turret. I don't think they're going to get it in time. Down it goes. That's a naked Nexus here, but ROCCAT got Baron.
Oh, Woolite trying to recall in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, he could be caught. Freeze takes down Woolite. That's a power play right there for Copenhagen Wolves. What can they do with it?
Look at the coaches here, Dentist and Ducky, going crazy.
Not the only ones this game, Deficio.
Why would you recall in the middle of the lane?
Got caught out again, but the Wolves, oh, Freeze is gonna blow up Nukeduck. Airwaks finally is going to be going down. The fight's going haywire now. Soren in the middle, he gets the Zanyas, he dodges the barrel, and Jankos is still gonna take him down. But Freeze is right in the middle. Can the fat man dodge? I don't think so. Overpow trying to save the day, but him and Vander are the only ones left standing for ROCCAT. The Wolves, it's been a hard-fought battle, but the Nexus is bare. The Wolves have done it, and ROCCAT are out of the playoffs. One step closer to their own playoff dream as Dentist hugs the Wolves. What an emotional match.
That recall
cost them the
game.
game.
AD carry 58 minutes in, gets caught out, dies. Katarina follows after, and the game is over. And like this game, we have seen this from the Copenhagen Wolves before. They do so well, like early to mid game, they get a massive goal lead, And then they just seem to stop. They don't seem to know how are we going to push this one. They went Baron probably 15 times in this game here. Got stopped 13, 14 times. Got one Baron, if I remember correctly. But it bought so much time for ROCCAT to come back in this game. Make it so close. Get 58 minutes. And as you said, ROCCAT are now out of the playoffs. They're going to be fighting against Elements for number 7 and number 8. 8 down to promotion tournament, number 7 safe. Copenhagen Wolves now can basically decide themselves. If they beat Giants tomorrow, they're in the playoffs as number 6. Unless, of course, Elements win both their games, then we might have a tie.
It's true, we still have a chance for that one, but for ROCCAT, chances are over. They needed that win, and just at the end, that one mistake did them in. It wasn't the only thing,
you know what,
for a while.
We lied to people here. If the Wolves go 2-0, they should be a win ahead of Elements.
Yes.